Good evening. Welcome to Port Royal Speedway. No wingless cars here tonight. Don't get worried. This is just footage. The night was race number 5, night number 6 of 2022 PA Speedweek, and it's at the Speed Palace, one of my favorite, probably my favorite racetrack, at least my favorite dirt track in the country. And I mean, we got a show in store. A couple new names hit the grid for the first time this week. Cy Lynch, Chris Wyndham, Brock Zierfoss, just to name a few of them. Good running, good out. There's always a good crowd of cars when you go to Port Royal. You go to hot laps to start the evening. Brent Marks, Dylan Cisney, Jeff Halligan. That's your top three. No, hot laps really isn't the biggest deal in the world, so that's all we got there. They split into two flights, Group A and Group B, for time trials. The first group had 20 cars, and the fastest driver was Logan Wagner. Dylan Cisney and Mike Wagner round out that top three there. Group number 2 had 19 cars to make up the 39 total, and at the end of that session, is there any surprise? Kyle Larson was fastest since he was in the group, but Anthony Macri and Lance DeWeese also put up an effort. They were the other guys in the top 3. So after a first botched attempt, the green flag went out on heat race number 1, and from the front row, Christopher Bell and Mike Wagner had a nice race for a little bit. Mike Wagner was able to get around C. Bell and kind of hold from there. Logan Wagner was the fastest driver in the group, but he was handicapped to 4th starting spot. He was able to charge his way back up to 3rd, past some fights, especially with Zach Hampton, who ended up falling outside of the top 5 at the end of it. Mike Wagner, easy sailing up front. He wins the heat race with Christopher Bell in 2nd. Logan Wagner 3rd. 4th is Danny Dietrich, and the final transfer out of the first heat race was Chase Dietz in the Trone, number 39. Heat race number 2, coming at you with a stacked front row, Brent Marks and Justin Peck. They had their own botched start. They wanted to copy heat race number 1's go, and then they got in on the second one. Rico Abreu got a great run through the first 2 corners, got himself up into the transfer spots. Brent Marks pulled away, and it looked like it was an easy one for him up until we had 1 lap to go, and a yellow flag comes out. Brent Shearer slows on the back straightaway. They come one more time around, and in that last circuit, Jeff Halligan is able to put the charge to Justin Whittle, who currently had been sitting in 5th, and make a pass in turn number 3. Your 5 transfers from heat number 2 were Brent Marks, Justin Peck, Rico Abreu, Dylan Cisney, and Jeff Halligan. Heat race number 3 starts with Lance DeWeese and Mike Walter on the front row. Kyle Larson is in this heat race, just a fair warning. Ahead of time, they had a botched start. Everybody's trying to play games for the starts of these heat races, and as they go through the race, Kyle Larson makes pretty quick work of Mike Walter and Lance DeWeese and is able to get out and ahead and wins it by 6 seconds. He leads across the line, the 69K of Lance DeWeese, the 12 of Blaine Heimbach, the 5W of Lucas Wolf, and the 33W of Mike Walter. Heat race number 4 started with 2 of the new names to PA Speedweek on the front row, Cy Lynch and Ryan Timms. They took the green flag. There was debris and a yellow on lap 3. By this point, Anthony Macri, who was in this race, had already taken the lead and was pretty in control. There was a nice little race between Dave Blaney and Freddie Raymer for the 3rd spot coming towards the end of the race. Tyler Reeser also tried to make some show of it as well. But at the end of it, Anthony Macri won very easily. Ryan Timms held on to the 2nd spot. 3rd was Dave Blaney. 4th was Freddie Raymer. And in 5th, finally, after 20 years of trying and 20 years of frustration, Tyler Reeser made an A main in PA Speedweek. The B main started out with Cy Lynch and Zach Hampton on the front row. Off the green flag, Zach Hampton very quickly fell back to 4th, the last transfer position in this grouping, and he was getting a lot of pressure at the point. 5 to go was the point where things kind of stopped for him with TJ Stutz, because at 5 to go, we had an incident between Steve Buckwalter and Devin Borden, which put the 27 very lightly on its side at that time, so the red flag did come out. They restart 2 laps after that with 3 to go. Tyler Bear crashes in turn number 3, I think all on his own, puts the 98 in the wall. And from that restart on, there was a really great duel for the win of the B main, and they come to the line. They get it all said and done. The 4 cars making the feature are the 67 of Justin Whittle, the 42 of Cy Lynch, the 11 of TJ Stutz, and the 19T of Brock Zierfoss. All right, so now it's time for the A main feature. 30 laps. Anthony Macri and Brent Marks from the redraw get to start in the front row. The green flag goes out. Logan Wagner, who started just behind those two, is able to hold on and stay in the fight with them at the front end of the grid. A great 3-car battle for 10th, just 5 laps into this race. You can see on your screen how close they were. 7 laps into the show, yellow flag number 1 comes out. Justin Whittle comes to a stop on the backstretch. On the restart, Kyle Larson moves himself all the way up to 3rd. He stays there. We get to halfway before lap traffic becomes a factor. The running order at that point was Brent Marks, Logan Wagner, Kyle Larson. Huge shakeup from the way the lap traffic was getting into the way of some of the leaders at a certain time and not. Anthony Macri, just all of a sudden, he gets the opportunity. He gets real fast. He moves into 3rd, and then he blows up. Yellow flag comes out. Justin Whittle spins to avoid contact, and Anthony Macri's night is done. This happened and brings us to a restart with 9 laps to go in the race. Logan and Mike Wagner go after Larson on this restart. The 2 Wagners come after him. Logan gets around him. Mike still fights with him. 5 laps to go in the race. Kyle Larson blows the right rear tire. It goes down, and he is out of contention from the win for the restart. Big race for 5th place off the restart as well, and the Wagners were able to fight in amongst themselves for 2nd place. As Brent Marks clears away, he is able to come home the winner in the first race at Port Royal Speedway. Here is the top 10 rundown for you. And here's your rundown on the power rankings on day 6. Brent Marks has moved into the top spot ahead of Anthony Macri after the tough break tonight. Justin Peck stays in 3rd. Rico Abreu, Lucas Wolf, they make up the top 5. Wolf, Stutz, and Halligan are purely on this list because they have made every feature and they are consistently in the top 10 fairly often. Kyle Larson is in 10th place on this list. Just bad luck for him. And for the drives he's had, he deserves to be higher, but you got to reward the guys who can make it to the end of the races. And whether from his own doing or not, unfortunately, Kyle Larson has not really had the results. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and be sure to tune in for the next one. Hagerstown is tomorrow night. I'm not 100% sure if there's actually going to be a video tomorrow night, but if there is, it'll be Hagerstown. And if not, we will see you and be in person for Williams Grove on Friday.